Hey Adam,
Hey, how's it going?
really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Well, everyone says I'm good as like a knee-jerk reaction. I'm surviving the lockdown. That's as good as I can say I'm doing.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I appreciate the honesty. I think most people, to be honest, are feeling.
Yeah, I think we've got to the point now where we're just like, right, it is what it is.
Absolutely, it's crazy times. Are you busy? I know you're not like doing what you normally do, but are you busy generally?
I actually am super busy right now, like probably busier than I want to be. Since September, I've been working in a special educational needs school as a TA, and so I'm there from Monday to Friday, and then I'm trying to like fill up my evenings with as many kind of workshops and masterclasses as I can, because we got a mortgage and a giant tax bill to pay with not much support from the government, so got to work.
Oh, that's amazing that you've got things coming in and special needs
Yeah,
school. That's so
yeah,
cool. What's that
yeah.
been like?
It's very challenging. It's been one of the most challenging things I've done. But I had a bit of experience with it, and I think that if I wasn't on the path of musical theatre and the like, teaching is the thing that I do alongside a lot. Like I've taught for Stagecoach, and I've taught for different colleges, and I've done workshops and masterclasses. So it seemed like a natural progression.
Oh, that's brilliant though. Well done for managing to, pay the mortgage.
Those bills.
Hey. Well,
Adult life.
we have a roadmap. We have a roadmap.
Come
Yes.
on, come on, roadmap. Everyone's like, see you on the 21st. And I'm like, well, we're not sure we're going to be there on June 21st, but, let's just keep pushing forward, stay positive, wear your masks, wash your hands, and keep going.
Exactly, exactly. So I'm guessing you're crazy missing work.
Yeah, when it first happened, I was pretty exhausted. I just completed my first contract of the Book of Mormon in the West End, and I was physically, mentally, vocally just really spent. And this time last year, actually, I was on for Elder Price for like 2 weeks or something. It was like a big old run of Price because he was off sick with probably coronavirus. Little did we know. And then obviously in a couple of weeks' time, a year ago, we closed. So I remember when it all happened being like, oh, we'll go off for a couple of weeks. I'll have a break. I can vocally rest. It's going to be brilliant. And we're still here.
Like a year later.
It's just crazy. So I'm very much missing everyone I work with, the backstage, the cast, the management team. Like I really miss everyone and getting to do what I trained to do.
So you're I know you have worked quite a lot and
Yeah.
you've done some amazing things, some amazing shows. But tell me, Adam, why do you do what you do? What is it that you love so much about it?
It kind of comes down to there's nothing else that I'm as passionate about. There's nothing else that I work as hard as this. So it was never the plan for me to go into musical theatre. I was always like very much into art. Like I loved drawing and fine art, painting, pastels, whatever. If ever I had free time, my dad just used to buy me loads of artistic materials, and I used to go wild for hours. It was always kind of my path was going to be that, like design and all that kind of stuff. And then I remember doing it for A levels. I got past my AS level of art and design, and I just grew to absolutely hate it. And then my other real main passion was singing and acting. I didn't have any dance experience, but I loved musicals. Like I was the type of kid that, a new Jason Robert Brown would come out, and I'd be on Amazon getting the song sheets, and like I just really loved it, and it was the thing that kind of came naturally out of, okay, what am I going to do with my life?
Okay, I have another question for you.
Okay.
If you had a platform where you could promote anything, what would it be? I know that social media nowadays, and I think especially during lockdown and the internet, it's so used, and everywhere you turn, people are using their voice for something, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you had that option, you had that platform, what is it that you're so passionate about that you would just want to promote and be heard about?
Um, that's a really tricky question because there is a lot of things I use my personal platform for. I don't have a massive following. I have like a few thousand, and a lot of them are kind of fans who see me in musicals and all that kind of thing. I use my own platform right now for a lot of things that I believe in, whether that be just reposting things that I see that I feel like the world need to embrace more. Black Lives Matter, trans lives matter, gay rights, just all these things that you're like, these are basic human rights. But I think when it boils down to it, what I would want if I had like a real big platform that I could broadcast to a much wider audience is to just kind of lead with kindness and to big each other up more and to push each other up and support each other. I'm guilty of it myself sometimes. I remember during the first lockdown, I was kind of caught out on Twitter because I was frustrated with the industry and the way it is sometimes. Like a lot of the same people are used for a lot of the same things. And when everything shut down, there was a lot of kind of online content with the same like 6 names just over and over and over again because they were going to sell tickets. They'd been in those younger shows like, you know, Six and Juliet, all the Jamie, all those kinds of like new buzzy shows that have that fan base. And I wrote a tweet, not even thinking, just being like, oh, what a surprising cast list. Like just a very sarcastic off the cuff thing. And then everyone was really kind of shutting me down, going, you know, like you should be bigging people up and blah, blah. And it's true. Like we have our frustrations and sometimes we use our platforms to kind of scream into the void. And also a lot of people who come into this business have a lot of hurt inside them, have a lot of trauma, have been bullied, have been left out, have been, I experienced a lot of that as a kid. Like I was always left out. I was constantly bullied. And so maybe there's a part of me that kind of, when the same people are being used over and over again and you don't feel like you're getting, you know, your fair opportunity, maybe there's like a part of that that kind of goes, it like reignites in you. And you just, it really becomes a habit. You have to knock that behavior out. Your time will come if it's right for you. If it's right for you, it won't pass you. And for that person, it came for them at that time. And that kind of good karma just comes back and back and back. And it's, you've got to catch yourself and you've got to grow out of that behavior. And it's something you really have to concentrate on because you can fall into that very easily.
I always say that energy, whatever you give, it comes back. I so believe in that. And whatever energy you put out to someone else, that is ultimately what you're going to attract back. So if somebody gets something and you feel that bitterness, you can't then attract back greatness. Okay, so obviously, I think as you get a bit later down the line in your career, there's a lot of things you learn, things that you never expected to be, that you just find out for yourself and you work out, and there is something beautiful in that as well. But if you were to give some, or a piece of advice for someone that's just coming into the industry, what would be your best bit of advice and why?
Save it for the car. We used to have this saying called save it for the car. So like, you have to remember being in the industry is a very small world. Everyone kind of knows everything about everyone. And if you say something, it's going to get back to someone and like all that kind of office politics kind of thing. If there's something you feel at the time, save it for the car, save it for the way home. You don't need to put out, it's kind of what we were talking about earlier, that kind of bad juju, like you don't want all that to kind of bite you in the butt later on. So be kind, be nice. If you haven't got something nice to say, don't say it in a room of 10 people, and save it for the car. If you've got something bad to say, save it for the car.
Oh, I love that. I love how it's normally it's if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. You're like, if you don't have anything nice to say, at least save it till you're not in a room with 10 people.
It's human to think those things. We can't be like wonderful human angel beings all
Oh,
the
it's
time.
so true. Yeah.
We're going to have those thoughts, and we're going to have that thing, and we're going to have someone who's peeing us off, and we've got to, you got to fight that urge to kind of be like snapping around at people. And if it doesn't need to be said in that moment, then don't say it. Like, go to work, do great work, and then go home.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think there's multiple things that come in with that, those characteristics. One, because artists are just passionate. So there's that level of that in the artist's blood. And the second thing is, I think because you come so close to the people around you, it's like, you know, when you walk in your house and all of a sudden, if you're in a bad headspace, you can be in a bad headspace because you're so comfortable with the people around you. You feel like you are allowed to be that person. I think when you're part of a cast, there's something, people always say it, and from someone that's not in the arts, it might be a little bit misunderstood, but you do become a family. Like the people around you, you're so close and connected with. I think you just become so comfortable where when you walk in that door, you feel like I can be whatever mood I want to be in. But you're absolutely right. When it comes down to it, you do have to really work out, where do I draw the line here? Where do I draw the line between being comfortable and feeling supported and being professional? And there is a line, and there is a difference between that.
I think with that comes another really valuable life lesson, which you can take into the industry, is that not everyone's going to like you. You're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and not everyone's going to be your cup of tea. So there's certain situations, that's the same with like auditioning. Like, you may not get jobs because it might not have been right for you at the time. That doesn't mean you're not talented. It just means you weren't that person's cup of tea at that time. So yeah, you've just got to show up, do the best you can do, be the best version of yourself, and go home, go to bed. Do you know what I mean?
Get some rest.
Get some rest, because tomorrow's another day and it's going to be just as crazy as this one.
Crazy but wonderful, right?
Crazy but wonderful.
So Adam, we've spoken about a couple of things that you have, you know, overcome, things that you've found difficult and then found a nice path through. Is there anything that you can add to that? Like, I'd say more like of a general challenge that you find one of the biggest challenges within the industry, and how do you overcome them challenges?
This industry is full of challenges. You're kind of being challenged every single day. The thing that I have found really difficult is I have anxiety and anxiety disorder. So in a business which is so kind of, it's fluctuating every day, you don't know what's going to be, especially being like a swing or a cover, like you're getting thrown on left, right, and center, and everything's changing every day. That can be really difficult when you live with anxiety. And what I kind of had to learn the hard way in my first year of Mormon, that sometimes personal things have to come before the job. I hadn't been home to Wales. I'm from Cardiff in Wales. I hadn't been home for a really long time because the job was absolutely exhausting. Book of Mormon is the hardest job I've ever done, bar none. It is the most exhausting, the most physically, mentally, vocally tiring thing I've ever done. Way more than Starlight.
Really? Yeah. Wow.
Only because of my track, I think, because I cover the 7 Ensemble Mormons. I'm first port of call for Elder Price, second cover for Mission President. I'm always switching around. So I hadn't been back to Cardiff for a really long time, and my nan wasn't very well, and she unfortunately passed away, and I wasn't there, and I hadn't seen her for a really long time. And I remember my mum calling me, and she kind of said, "Hey, I just want to let you know that your nan passed away." And I absolutely broke down, more from the guilt of not putting my family first, because my career has always meant so much to me. Like, my career is my driving force in my life. And I let it get in the way of the things that are really important. I didn't go home as much as I needed to in the last year of my nan's life. And the guilt of like, but I haven't seen her in so long and now she's gone, I've missed that chance. I think a big challenge is that, you know, if you are suffering with mental health, if something is going on at home, all of those life things, they have to come before work. Obviously, you're going to show up to work and you're going to do the best work you can do, and you have to keep pushing through. That's life, that's work, that's being a human. But you also have to know when to stop, when to take a step back, and to go, okay, I need a day for myself. I need a weekend to go home. Those things, they have to come first. So that's one lesson I've really learned in this business. The jobs will come and go. You've only got one you've only got one family. So really, you've got to know when to kind of stop and take a breath. I think that's the thing I've learned.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. First of all, I'm really sorry to hear about your nan. I think I would completely agree. It's so easy to get caught up in that drive, because it is that hustle, and you always feel like you have to be at the forefront of the hustle to make sure you're seen, to make sure you're not missing out on opportunities. So I understand where that pull comes from, but I also completely agree that it is about balance. And I think in all areas of life, isn't it? It's just, again, it comes down to finding that balance, keeping things in moderation. And yeah, it's I think there's an element of actually learning how to schedule your time.
Yeah.
Like somebody would schedule their work day with a load of meetings and what have you, auditions or what have you. It's like really sitting down with a diary of a month and going, okay, well, this is my work. Where can I take my time for me and my self-care in this month? Is it for an hour every evening? And where can I fit in the people that make me, they recharge me. Yeah. They feel my energy, and then I'm ready to go back. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have them basic needs and that basic love and that basic lift, then you're not really the best version of you to go and work and do all them things anyway. So yeah, I think that's brilliant advice and really important.
Yeah.
Who or what would you say is your biggest either inspiration or motivation, like when you need that lift? Or we kind of just talked a little bit about that, you know, that refill your cup.
Yeah.
Who or what is that? Who or what do you turn to when you need that lift or you need that motivation? Or
my support network, like my kind of chosen family, is really important to me. During this lockdown, my two best friends, Chelsea and Sarah, have absolutely kept me afloat every day. They text me every single day, and we FaceTime and we call. And so yeah, it's rejoining with my kind of group. They're like my rocks, and they energize me and they keep me going, and they're so supportive and wonderful. And just the stupid jokes, like you'll wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and be like, oh god, I gotta go to school again, and your friends will just text you stupid stuff and it'll make you laugh. And I really need that. I really feed off that.
And you spoke, Adam, a little bit about anxiety, and that's been something that you've had to deal with. Can you tell us a little bit about how you do deal with that, like especially in regards to on stage? Do you find more of the anxiety in regards to performing, or is it more off stage, or does it combine into both?
It definitely combines into both. I feel like performing really exacerbates it sometimes, especially with, you know, I've done a lot of really hard jobs and like hard vocals and hard characters, and that can really take its toll. And sometimes on an 8-show week, there's just not enough time to recover before you then jump back into the following week. I actually really didn't even know I had anxiety until I did Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. And I got really sick. I was seeing someone in New York. I had a boyfriend in New York, and we were traveling back and forth to see each other. And I got really sick on a flight back once. And then the following week I was in my hometown in Cardiff. So I had hundreds of people coming to see me. So I had to be on every night, and I pushed through. And the anxiety of like, am I going to get through this show? It built up inside me to such an amount that the following week I was rushed into hospital because I thought I was having a heart attack. And I had never had those kind of physical reactions before. It takes over. Your mind is a very powerful thing, and it can change things in your body. I have lost the feeling in both my arms before. I have had palpitations where it feels like you are about to die from a heart attack. I have had, where you can't even swallow. It feels like your throat is closing up. It's crazy that your mind can bring on those physical effects. And it's your body telling you, stop. Like, you have to stop now and you have to rest. And I didn't realize that until my company manager on Priscilla was like, have you ever thought you may have anxiety? And I was like, no, of course not. No, absolutely not. No, this is a physical thing. Like, there's something wrong with my heart and blah, blah, blah. And he kind of was like, okay. And like gave me my space. And I kept like talking to different people, and a lot of people were kind of saying the same thing. And I actually realized that I've suffered with anxiety from a really young age. And I just didn't have a name to put to it. I didn't know what it was. It wasn't something that was spoken about as much. And now it's really coming into the forefront of conversation. And there's certain things you have to do to kind of take care of yourself, whether it's like, I know that caffeine is one of my triggers. If I'm on for a price show, I know that I can't have a coffee that morning because I will just be bubbling over too much.
I cannot touch coffee. I cannot touch coffee. It will send me off the wall. Like, my heart will be going mental within an hour. And it normally takes like an hour or 2 hours to kick in, but I cannot touch caffeine.
And I'm very sensitive to anything like that. Another thing is like breathing techniques. Like, you've got to really breathe through things and get your breathing back to a nice, healthy level, because it comes really shallow and everything comes up here. I hold all my tension in my jaw, in my neck, in my back. So that's great for singing, not like, there'll be days when I wake up and I cannot move my jaw properly. And I'm like, how am I going to sing today? So I have to have a lot of vocal massage. I have a lot of physiotherapy to kind of work out all those things and to get all that kind of tension that I build up in my upper back and neck. As you deal with it more and more, as you go through life, you'll find out the things you need to do for yourself. You'll find the things that help you, that may not help others, and just concentrate on those things and try and get through every day the best you can. There is an element of like, are you feeling anxious about something doesn't mean you have anxiety disorder. It means that everyone has so many things to be anxious about. Yeah. These days, especially with social media and with everything at our fingertips and instant gratification, there's a lot to be anxious about. And we have to speak about these things. We have to hear it from people. It's a work in progress. It's a daily thing you've got to just keep checking in with. Speak about things. Speaking about these things takes the power that it holds over you away. If you're going through a really bad bout of anxiety, then speak to your friend, speak to your boyfriend, your partner, speak to someone about it, because a problem shared is a problem halved, or whatever they say. Like, it really does take its power away. If you bottle it up, then it's like this giant claw of anxiety is gonna, come and take you out of the vending machine. Like, you're at its mercy. Whereas if you just talk about it, it takes all of that away.
Okay, I have a final question for you. Okay. Tell me your favorite contract, any like moment that's just been super special and like will stay with you forever. Special moment, something lovely.
My favorite contract, I have two that I can't choose between. My two favorite contracts are Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and Cats, because I felt like my cast were my family. They were both tours. One was touring in South Korea and Taiwan, one was touring around the UK, and I just made friends for life in both of them, and I loved it.
Awesome. Oh, I love it. I just miss being in casts of people. It is the best thing, isn't it? Having people around you, making new friends. Yeah, I would have to agree. That is my that was my favorite thing about the industry. I think even more so than actually being on stage, it was just that life, that social buzz and vibe. Love it. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little few fill in the blanks, and you can literally do it with like a word or a sentence or just something quick and simple.
Okay.
Okay. Are you nervous?
Yes.
Your face then, you were like, okay.
Okay, fill in the blank.
Okay, fill in the blanks. Okay, fill in the blank number one. My ideal musical is full of
songs that give me the tingly feeling up my neck.
Yes, love the tingly feeling. Okay, being a performing artist means
living other people's lives on the stage to get a reaction from an audience, to give them something to take home, give them some escapism, to watch them, to let them watch you portray other things on stage.
Amazing. If you were granted the wish of any job in the whole world, it would be
the highest paid one. There's so many jobs I want to do, but as long as I'm working and I'm happy, I'm grand. There's no specific thing I want to do.
Okay, amazing. My motto is
I guess I kind of spoke about it before. Lead with kindness as much as you can, and show up, do good work, go home.
Love that. Yes. And life is better when
we're not in a horrible pandemic or lockdown. When I can see my friends and go for coffee and have cake and walk around and just, oh, life is better with people.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Do that. Oh, Adam, thank you so much. It's been so lovely to talk to you.
It's been such a pleasure to catch up as well.
I know, I know. This, like, honestly, doing these once a week, I'm absolutely loving catching up with old friends, and just you hit the nail on the head. It's totally like the kind of conversations you have when you've had a few drinks.
Yeah, a few bevies.
A bit deep. Yeah. And yeah, no one's doing that these days. So here we go.
Here we are on Zoom.
Here we are, sober on Zoom.
Sober as a priest.
Oh.
Well, it was so nice to see you.
And you, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming on and having a chat. And yeah.
Thanks for having me. Mwah.
So welcome. Thank you. Take care. Bye. See you soon.